So Dave, thanks so much for talking with us. So obviously matching the scion to the rootstock and the soil and production system is always a tricky business for folks. So we thought if we came and talked to people and saw some situations where they feel like, okay, this is a good combination or things to think about, that might be helpful for folks. So you said this might be a good block for us to look at. So tell us a little bit about this block. What's our rootstock, scion? What do we got going on here?
Well, what we got, it's WA 38, and what our plantings in the past had been 11 by 2.75, and all that I learned from the guys down south was it felt like the tighter the blocks that I looked at, the better their production and their yield was. So we decided to go with 337, just a proven rootstock. We felt that it'd be a little more compact, being that this is a type 4 variety. And so we decided to go from 11. Some of our blocks are 10, and this particular one's 10.5 by 2.25, and 1,843 trees to the acre. We just felt that density of the tree, and once again, that scion with that root would keep it compact. Our biggest hurdle was trying to get to the top of that. Very anxious about it, knowing that one may not push as hard. But yeah, that's why we chose it.
Cool. So you said some of your production system reasons for choosing this, but tell me, what was kind of your number one reason for choosing this root with this scion, and what were you looking for?
We were looking for precocity. We wanted the number of fruit per tree to be there year in and year out. I don't know if this variety alternate bears or not. I just know that it's a tip bear, and it's going to want to stretch out and get further and further, and we were wanting to keep it, once again, higher density and compact, and therefore we felt 337 for us was a good solid choice. Perfect.
So is there one or two things you did when you were growing this block that you felt like were just really essential to get it to look the way it does?
Well, look the way it does. The weeds we haven't mowed, so we're afraid of hitting, or we haven't sprayed here lately, we're afraid of hitting fruit, whatnot. No doubt, the number one, hands down, we haven't grown high density for a whole lot of years. We've only got X amount of acres of them in our portfolio, but what I've learned, number one for me and our soil that undulates, it'll change in 200 feet, it'll change 3 times. Water, and excessive water for us is better than being where we think it's just right or behind. And so that was the number one thing. And we did fumigate, we did soil samples, and obviously fertilizer. We're at approximately 200 pounds of N the first year. This is third leaf trees, by the way. And yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That's helpful, and we'll be looking at more of these, and we'll get to compare and contrast what people did. Well, thanks, Dave, for showing us another block. On our tour of looking at how to match these rootstocks to scions and soils. So tell us a little bit about the block we're standing in here.
Well, it's a block of sugar bee, and this is first leaf. We have some sugar bee that are on grafted trees, and this is our first high density block that we did. And we chose 337, once again, for precocity. From what little we knew about the variety, we thought that may help. We wanted to go tighter, so we went 10 by 2.25, 1,936 trees to the acre to once again help on that precocity. And replant scenario, so we did fumigate. And yeah, we had grapes in here before. And yeah, that's once again just to get bins per acre was our goal, along with quality target fruit.
Okay, so in terms of your management goal, the number one thing then was probably precocity for that bins per acre.
Precocity was, but we wanted to fill our space, and that's what did make me anxious about a 337. Is will we fill our space? I don't have a lot of experience in high density stuff, so I was very anxious about that. But with my work with Nick 29, yeah, a little more vigorous, but fire blight issues, root suckers, just some different things.
Okay. And anything that you did particular in here that you think is helping it look nice this year?
Well, we tried to do a lot of little things. We tried to plant on time, and on time means a lot earlier than I was ever used to planting. So we were kind of goofy about that. So we got it in as early as possible, so everything was prepped ahead of time. I really think every day, every week for sure counts. So we got it in as early as we could. And then we try to do everything, all the little details during planting, right? Spread the roots out, all the little things. We tried to have the trellis up as soon as possible to keep them straight, and lots of the little details. And then other than that, it came down to irrigation once again, water.
Yep.
Water, water, water. So we're trying once again to bring the density of the trees up, match that scion rootstock to that, and then, but we got to build the factory.
So, thank you so much, Mari, for being here, giving us some information or some examples that you have in the blog about the importance to match the scion and the rootstock with the soil type.
Thanks for coming. So this is WA 38, planted on Geneva 41. It was planted as a quick start in the summer of June of 2018. So they were, they were 18 inches tall. It's planted on a 3x10 spacing, single leader. The trees grew very well. This is finishing their third leaf. They're to the top wire. It's a great combination. We haven't seen any fire blight issues, ground rot issues. Like I said, the trees have filled their space, and hopefully we can pick a nice crop off them next year.
What is the soil type that you
Soil
have?
type is we have very good soil. It's a sandy loam, no rocks, very grower friendly. Cosmic is a very grower friendly variety. I think it was a good match. Like I said, you can see they fill their space and they look good. Probably our biggest thing we look at was trees filling their space and having the ability down the road of mechanization. We a lot of orchards we use platforms. We have a hedger, so some next spring we'll probably come in summer and hedge this. We just have to get away from labor as much as we can. So that's part of our goal is plan everything, so whether it's robotic picking down the road, working off platforms, keep our labor costs down. Okay, so this is Premier Honeycrisp, planted in as a quick start again, as planted in the summer of 2019. So where we're standing now, these are Geneva 890, and on past me, you see the white post. Anything past the white paint is G41, 3x10. It's the reason I was choosing 890s. This is really sandy soil, and in the previous blocks we've always had trouble getting them to grow, fill their space. So I thought we'll take these 890s and put them in this really sandy area and see how they perform. And they've done quite well. I mean, not that the G41s haven't done well, but comparing to the 890s, they haven't grown as much. Now these trees were bigger, quick start. They were 18 inches taller when we planted them than the G41, so it's not a true comparison. But they've both done very well. But my fear is being able to crop the 890s earlier than the G41s because we're in the same row. So we'll learn from our mistakes.
Thank you. So tell us, what is the management goals that influenced your choice?
Filling our space is our number one goal. It was a real concern here just because of like I said, the sandy soil and not being able to give enough water. So I thought the 890 would help that fill our space.
Thank you so much, Marty.
You're welcome.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for having us. Please tell us about this block. What are the varieties that you have here, the rootstocks and the soil type?
This is a WA 38 block that we planted in 2018. We have G890, G969, and G41. We have 3 distinct soil types in this block that starts with sand, evolves into clay loam, and then into loamy clay. And so we have the G890 in sand, the G41 in the clay loam, and the 969 in the heavy loamy clay. This is our second crop in these third leaf trees, and we did not chemical thin or hand thin this crop.
What is the tree spacing?
The tree spacing is 12 feet by 1.5 feet. We have a pollinizer every 25 trees, and they alternate with Mount Everest and snowdrift.
Thank you. Hi, Tom. Please give us an explanation of what are the management of your goals that influence that the setup of this block.
I had the opportunity to plant 3 different Geneva rootstocks. G969, G41, and G890. We put 890 in the sand, we put 41 in the clay loam, and 969 in the loamy clay. And so as we look at the trees, it's very hard to see where one rootstock starts or ends because the rootstocks were able to make up some of the differences in the soils. We were hoping not to have to do any special irrigation or soil amendment program to manage these wildly different soil textures in the same row. Our irrigation system is set up to irrigate every night, and so we try to make up some of the wild differences in soil moisture capacity by just watering for the sand, and we water fairly short sets every night.
Thank you, Tom.